Thank you very much. Senator Byrd.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for calling this timely and important hearing. I apologize for my voice. I've been struggling with a bout of laryngitis. I share your outrage over the atrocities that have emerged from the Abu Ghraib prison. I believe Congress has a responsibility to demand a public accounting and a public explanation from the leadership of the Defense Department. I fear this is only the beginning of a long and painful process, but I am glad that you have taken the first steps to begin a necessary public examination of the massive policy failure that led to this catastrophe. Among the many aspects of this situation that are so troubling to me is why the President and his advisors are only now publicly condemning the prisoner abuses in Iraq, when apparently the Defense Department had known about them for months. I do not recall hearing a peep out of either of you, Secretary Rumsfeld or General Myers, about this before CBS broke the silence. Why did it take the televised broadcast of graphic photos of prisoner abuse, a broadcast General Myers has acknowledged he tried to suppress, to galvanize the leadership of the Defense Department to express its outrage over the situation? Why was a report that described sadistic, blatant, and wanton criminal abuses by American soldiers left to languish on a shelf in the Pentagon, unread by the top leadership until the media revealed it to the world? Why wasn't Congress apprised of the findings of this report from the Defense Department instead of from CBS News? Mr. Secretary, it was President Truman who is said to have displayed the famous sign on his desk, "The buck stops here." I served with President Truman. He was an honorable man. He did not shirk his responsibility. I see a very different pattern in this administration. I see arrogance and a disdain for Congress. I see misplaced bravado and an unwillingness to admit mistakes. I see fingerprinting and excuses. Given the catastrophic impact that this scandal has had on the world community, how can the United States ever repair its credibility? Yes. How are we supposed to convince not only the Iraqi people, but also the rest of the world that America is indeed a liberator and not a conqueror, not an arrogant power? Is a presidential apology to the King of Jordan sufficient? I ask you that question.
Senator, the facts are somewhat different than that. The story was broken by the Central Command, by the United States Department of Defense in Baghdad. General Kibitz stood up in January and announced that there were allegations of abuses and that they were being investigated. He then briefed reporters in, I think it was March 20th, there's a timeline up here. By March 20th, he went back out again and said that these had been filed. The idea that this is a story that was broken by the media is simply not the fact. This was presented by the Central Command to the world so that they would be aware of the fact that these had been filed. What was not known is that a classified report with photographs would be given to the press before it arrived in the Pentagon.
Mr. Secretary, we'll put my timeline in the record and compare it with yours. My question is a presidential apology to the King of Jordan sufficient?
Senator, I guess that's for the President and the Congress and others to decide. There have been many apologies. There have been apologies by every person at this table today. Any suggestion that there is not a full, deep awareness of what has happened and the damage it has done, I think would be a misunderstanding.
The Red Cross.
The report that we're talking about is sitting over right there on the floor, and it is, I don't know, what, 2 feet high. There is a...
Did you read it?
I read the executive summary, which is 50 to 75 pages, and I looked at some of the annexes and appendices and references. I have been briefed on it in full, and as have the people at this table, and you can be certain of that.
The Red Cross claims that it made reports of prison abuse in Iraq throughout 2003. I understand that those reports are confidential by mutual agreement. Secretary Rumsfeld, how do we know that there isn't a broader problem here? We have heard reports of prisoner abuse from more than just the Abu Ghraib prison. Will you ask the Red Cross to waive its confidentiality agreement on those reports and make public all pertinent reports on U.S. military-run prison facilities, including those in Iraq, Afghanistan, Guantanamo, and elsewhere?
We will certainly be happy to provide the committee with all the reports we have. I think the issue of the International Committee, the Red Cross, allowing one of their reports to be made public is an issue for them, because they worry that they will not be told the truth when they go into countries where there are dictatorships and where people are systematically punished and tortured, and people do not want to talk to them if ICRC gets a reputation for making their report public. So we will be happy to give you our reports on a confidential basis that is respectful of the International Committee of the Red Cross's stipulations.
Mr. Secretary,
thank you very much, Senator.
May I just follow this postscript?
Yes,
with all due respect to you, the matter is far deeper than that. The American people need to know what's in those reports. And when the Red Cross supplies the Defense Department with those reports, Congress should have that material.
We'd be happy to give it to you.
Very well. Thank you.